Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin as we are heading towards the daily close. It was an interesting day in crypto, some upside, yeah. And in the first video today I said it could be an interesting Saturday, and indeed it became an interesting Saturday. We saw already some indicators some indications basically that it could become interesting. That trend line that broke, a strong sell-off in the days before that often leads to a bounce on the weekend. So yeah, it's interesting. The market did push higher today. In this video, I want to take a look at the microstructure only. Let's take a look at it. Quick reminder, we are exploring the idea that a C wave to the downside could be complete. We talk about wave C of 4. That fourth wave began in March. If you're wondering about how the daily chart looks like, feel free to check out my first video from today. That gives you an overview of the context. Tomorrow in my first video, I'm going to take a look at the daily chart again as well. But we don't need to do that multiple times during the day. So what we've seen today was a first break of this descending trend line. As you might recall, this was quite a relevant trend line with 5 touch points. A break above a trend line with 5 touch points can be interesting because these don't appear too often. We had a break, and since then the market has printed higher highs, higher lows. So while I cannot rule out one more low, things are starting to look quite interesting, but we are still below the resistance area that is relevant really for an upside breakout and to confirm something more bullish. It will essentially be the first decent pullback that will tell us the truth. At the moment, we have a possible 5-wave move to the upside. And I'm watching for a possible 3-wave pullback next. And we are going to zoom in a minute. I will tell you what I need to see to confirm that pullback is starting. So far, there is no sign of weakness. But if a pullback is starting now, and it would be a wave 2 or a B wave in yellow, then the micro support levels, the Fibonacci levels to watch, are between 56,430 and 54,555. Been adjusting this support region a few times during the day. Quick reminder, as silver and gold members, you get access to the live charts, and as gold members, additional short-term updates during the day. You can find the link in the description if you're interested. Check it out. But what is really important now is that in any pullback, to maintain the perspective that we can go higher, or let's say to maintain upside pressure, in any pullback, the price must hold above 54,555. If the price pushes a little bit higher, then we will have to adjust this support zone. As I said, so far there hasn't been any sign of a pullback. So we could still grind higher, absolutely. That's why I put the trend line in the previous video onto the chart. It now also has enough touch points to be relevant, and it supported the price after or since this breakout, basically, above the red trend line. I leave the red trend line on the chart for now because it could still be we come down for a retest, even though that would be quite a sharp pullback, so I'm not entirely sure. Maybe tomorrow I'll take it off. And I will now zoom in, and we're going to take a look at the micro resistance levels. I've added a few. Before we do that, a quick reminder, today I published a video here on X, exclusively on X, because you all voted on X for a coin for me to analyze on X only, on Twitter. It's Rose. So if you're interested in that, check out the our X network profile. Also, you'll find additional updates here that are published throughout the day, mindset stuff and so on. Just make sure you follow only the correct account. You'll find the link as well in the description. So now let's take a look at, well, we're already on the 30-minute chart. I just need to zoom in a little bit. So this is now where it's getting interesting. I mean, at the moment, this is all okay. I have to say this wave 1 has now reached ideal targets. Why do I say that? Well, if it's a 5-wave move, so first of all, we assume at the moment it's a 5-wave move. That's why I've labeled it wave 1. It could also be an A wave in 5 waves. The next pullback could be a wave 2 or a B wave. And then from here, a C wave could start in a larger B wave or a 3rd wave. And if after that another 4 or 5 pattern forms, we have the next bullish confirmation. Either way, the trend is up as long as we're holding above the trend line, okay? We have reached the ideal target for an internal 5th wave in that wave 1. Why? Because this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5th wave tends to reach the 61.8 extension of waves 1 and 3 together. And that's here, 58,340. If we break above this level, the next level is 58,961. And then we still have a 5-wave move. But if we get to the 100% extension at 59,760, I will not call that anymore a 5-wave move. Because then it could still technically be, but it will then look more like an ABC structure, right? Because this leg then is as long as this leg. I hope that makes sense. And then it's more looking like an ABC in which the A wave was a 3-wave move, a shallow B wave, and this is a C wave up that reached 100% extension. So that's not great. However, if we then, and this is where it's in motion, right, where we dynamically throughout the day need to assess the wave patterns. If it then continues to push, it could form a larger 5-wave move. So you see, it's important to assess the micro patterns constantly. I mean, they're not fixed. They are dynamic. The bottom line is, if when we get a pullback, we only have a 3-wave move up, it's potentially bearish. At least it's not clearly bullish. If when the pullback starts, we have a 5-wave move, that's more clearly bullish. I hope that makes sense. At the moment, it has more the look of a 5-wave move, which is good, but it's time for a pullback now. If that pullback doesn't show and we don't get a break below, I would see a sustained break below the trend line as a first indication that we get that correction, right? And that hasn't happened yet, but we are now entering key resistance. We have here reached the 61.8 extension. As I said, if it's a 5-wave move, that's a key level where it can get rejected. Absolutely. And also, this is an overlap with the 50% retracement. So that's a key fib area where the price could get rejected, also close to the previous swing high. So I'm watching for a pullback now. It's not showing yet, but the wave pattern is full technically, okay? But as you know, they can always extend and then it morphs a little bit. We just have to assess the wave structure then. What wouldn't be great would be a direct move to the 100% extension here at around 59,700 and then seeing a rejection there. So just note that there are certain pivots. We need to see how the market is reacting to the pivots. And basically what I'll do, what I've done throughout the days, to basically provide real-time commentary on Discord for gold members, as we go along. That's typically what I do even on the weekend. Obviously at some point you also I need a break, but I try to give you my commentary as often as possible. If something happens, I mean, sometimes nothing happens, right? But this should give you all the levels to watch. Obviously, as we go higher, I would have to move up this micro support zone as well, right? That's just also not fixed. It is a moving support zone, which will only get fixed once we have a top and start to break below that trend line. Yeah, it needs to be a sustained break of the trend line, but also here I find that quite a relevant trend line because it has... It has 3 touch points, even 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, even a little bit more. I mean, if you call all of these individual touch points. So therefore, I'm saying as long as we're holding above it, I mean, you can use that to trade the trend higher. Okay, so assuming someone, for example, took a breakout trade here, you could then just now sort of move your stop with the trend line like a trailing stop and see where it takes us. So that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.